Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Kedar here, and today in this video we are going to discuss when is the state stimulus check coming out and who is getting the payment in 2022. Also, we are going to cover which residents in these states are getting the stimulus check and what are the qualifying criteria that you should need to consider. Also, we got state-wise report regarding the update when you should receive your stimulus check payment and could there be another federal stimulus check. So well, there is a lot to cover in this video, so without further ado, let's get started. Guys, before we start this video, make sure to hit that like, and with that being said, let's continue. According to the report, these residents in 17 states are getting tax rebate checks, and we will cover each of them in detail. Well, but first, Massachusetts state legislature is already working to pass off a tax rebate for $250 for eligible individual filers and $500 for married couples who filed jointly. And the estimations are payment could be sent out before the end of this September. And they report that on July 8, there will be certainly a sign that there will be a bill, but it's just a start of a more tax relief efforts given that cost of everything is going up already. Massachusetts is just latest state to address the rampant inflation and growing threat of recession with plan to send a tax rebate checks to eligible residents. And the federal government issued 3 rounds of stimulus check during the height of this pandemic, and they say it's unlikely to send more this year, but there is no official statement regarding this, so we just have to wait for the confirmation. But looks like at least 17 states have issued or in the process of sending out the rebate payments. So now we will going to cover each of them state by state, and we'll check the status of the rebate checks. But before we move forward, I have did a detailed video on the gas rebate checks and gas tax holidays across US. You can check that video into the I button, also in the description below. Now moving forward, well, speaking of California, already state lawmakers have agreed to send millions of Californians inflation relief checks. We already know they have agreed to send for married couple with at least one child, and payment will go into direct deposit or debit card by 2023, and the possibility is that you'll receive the checks as soon as October. Speaking of criteria, well, single taxpayer who earn less than 75k a year file jointly, and people who earn less than 150k a year will receive 350 per taxpayer and another 350 if they have any dependents. And therefore, if you add up, a married couple and children therefore will receive $1,050. Talking about individual filers who earn between 75k and 125k a year, and couple who earn between 150k and between 250k will receive $250 per taxpayer plus another 250 if they have any dependents. Therefore, total they will get $750. Then individual filers who earn between 125k to 250k and couples who earn between 250k and 500k annually would receive $200 each. Also, family with children in this criteria could receive maximum of $600. Now, this is really important. Well, single taxpayers earning 250k or above and couples earning combined 500k are not eligible for these payments. So this is a really important criteria. Speaking of Colorado, if you have filed your 2021 return by June 30, you'll get a check for $750 by September, and joint filer will get $1,500. And also filers who got extension received and filed by the October 17 deadline will receive their refund by January 31, 2023. Speaking of Delaware, well, lawmakers in April approved $300 stimulus checks for residents if you have filed your 2020 tax returns, and if you file jointly, each person will receive the payments, and you should expect your check started going out in the May. Speaking of Georgia, Brian Kemp signed a bill in the March authorizing the rebates to taxpayers who have filed their returns for both 2020 and 2021 in May, and single taxpayer will receive $250 and heads of households getting $375, while married couples filing jointly will get $500. And partial year residents or individual who owe income tax, delinquent child support, or other payments may have received a smaller rebate. And you can head over to the Georgia Department of Revenue website to check out more information on this thing. Speaking of Hawaii, well, if you earn under 100k in 2021 or 200k, and if you file jointly, you'll get a $300 tax rebate this year. And with the dependents, you are also eligible for the rebates as well. Individuals who earn more than 100k and couples who earn more than 200k will receive a one-time $100 payout. And according to the Department of Taxation, the payments could begin, mailing out in the late August. Speaking of Idaho, they have signed a bill in February giving $75 to each taxpayer and dependent, or 12% of their 2020 state income tax return, and you'll receive whichever is greater. And checks are already started going out in the March, and you can review your status of your rebate onto the website given in the description below. Speaking of Illinois, they have estimated a 1.83 billion relief package, and it's already went into effect by 1st July, and this includes income tax, property tax rebates, and temporary cut in several sales taxes. If you are an individual earning less than 200k in 2021, you'll receive a $50 income tax rebate, while couples filing jointly income less than 400k will receive $100. And these filers can earn $100 per dependent, which they claimed on their 2021 taxes. And they can include up to 3 dependents, so a family of total 5 can earn as much as $400. Well, they are expecting to start cutting the checks the week of September 12, as told by the Illinois Department of Revenue. And after that, distribution should finish roughly 8 weeks later. Also, Democratic is planning family relief plan, which includes several tax holidays and rebates. Things like suspension of the state 1% sales tax on groceries from 1st July through June 30, 2023. Also, qualified clothing, sales taxes, school supplies, and all that will be reduced from 6.25 to 1.25 from August 5th to 14. And permanent expansion of earned credit income from 18 to 20% of the federal credit. Also, a property tax rebate for homeowners earning less than 250k or between 500k if they file jointly. This will be available in equal amount to the property tax for their 2021 Illinois returns, and this we could go up to $300. Speaking of Indiana, starting in May, payments of 125 starting going out to all the residents regardless of the income, and as a result, automatic taxpayer refund lawmakers is urging to send the taxpayer an additional $225. Hoosiers have real need right now during this period of inflation, from the gas pumps to buying groceries, and everyone should benefit from the state's success. Speaking of Maine, taxpayers who have filed their 2021 state tax returns and have adjusted the gross income less than 100k should be eligible for $850 direct relief payment, and couples filing jointly will receive $1,700 a single payment, and checks are expected to arrive before mid-July. Speaking of Massachusetts, well, state legislature is already working to provide one-time tax rebate of $250 to eligible individual taxpayers and $500 for married couples. Speaking of eligibility criteria, well, this one is based on the annual income reported in 2021. In 2021, if you earn less than 3800k and no more than 100k for individual or 150k for couples, you should be eligible for your rebates. The plan needs to clear legislature and be signed off, but checks could go out before the 1st October. They have already sent a $500 stimulus check to low-income workers in the spring. To qualify, they had to have a household income below 300% of the federal poverty level and have not received unemployment compensation in 2021. Speaking of Minnesota, frontline workers will receive a one-time payment of $750 with application being accepted through July 22 and checks starting go out in the late July. Lawmakers have also called a special session of the legislature to pass a proposed income tax rebate of $1,000 for individual filers earning less than 165k and a $200 for couples who earning less than 275k. Speaking of New Jersey, Governor Phil Murphy have already signed off $500 tax rebate for nearly 1 million New Jersey residents. He also supported payments to taxpayers who use a tax identification number instead of social security number, which would include non-residents and residents alliance and their families. In the June, Murphy announced a plan to provide more than $2 billion in rebate approximately to 2 million New Jersey households. And this plan would offer as much as $1,500 to families who pay property tax but also benefit renters. Speaking of New Mexico, they have issued a $250 rebate checks to state taxpayer in both May and June, and total of 500, and another rebate is already scheduled for distribution in this July, though it comes with a certain stipulations. Criteria is married couples filing joint returns, heads of household, and surviving spouses with income under 150k. They are all eligible to receive $500 income tax rebate, while single filers and married individuals filed separately are eligible for $250 rebate if they have income under 75k. And well, no action is needed for eligible taxpayer if you are eligible, or if you have filed your 2021 income taxes before 1st May 2023, you should automatically receive the rebates via either direct deposit or paper checks. Final round of payment is slated for distribution in August. Also, New Mexicans who do not file income tax returns can also receive economic relief, but budget is capped at 20 million and payments are being distributed on first come first serve basis. So married couples or single individuals with one or more dependents can be eligible for $1,000, and individuals without the dependents can receive $500. Applications are available through the New Mexico Human Services of Department. Speaking of New York, well, in this June, about 3 million New York State homeowners started receiving property tax rebate of $1,050, and New York households are getting 425 average. And if you are qualified, you should automatically get a check by the end of the June. But the details on the eligibility are available onto the New York State of Department of Taxation and Finance website. So I will link down the website below. Speaking of the Pennsylvania, in July, more than 260k older homeowners and renters and people with disabilities started receiving a part of a massive 121.7 million payout. And this one is issued through the property tax rent rebate program. Eligible residents should visit MyPath website to file a paper application before extended deadline of December 31, 2022, and the payments are coming via direct deposit or check. And the maximum allowed rebate is $650 according to the Department of Revenue, but supplemental rebates for qualifying homeowners can boost their amount up to $975. But remember that the department will automatically calculate these rebates for qualifying applicants. Speaking of South Carolina, well, income tax refund checks of $800 will be sent out to the South Carolina taxpayers starting in the late November or December. Any resident who paid at least $100 in taxes will receive $100 rebate, and with the amount growing based on their tax liability up to $800 cap tax filing per person. The rebate are issued per person regardless whether they filed individually or jointly. So the 56% of the tax returns are expected to get money back according to the State Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Office. Speaking of Virginia, after legislation cleared the General Assembly in July, Virginians will receive one-time checks starting in the late September, and individual filers will receive $250 while married couples will get $500. Now guys, if your state is not covered in this one, well, could there be another federal stimulus checks? Well, as per the analysts say, not to count on it, especially since another cash infusion could fuel the further inflation. Overall, there is no great solution to the inflationary problem, but well, another round of stimulus check, even if targeted to the lowest income group, would only provide short-term relief at the risk of mid-term and long-term problems. So there it is guys. Hope you got a clear picture on which states are getting stimulus checks in 2022. And speaking of another stimulus checks, well, I will keep you updated on the latest updates. By the way, I did an in-depth video on gas stimulus checks Also, few of the stimulus programs that you can take part of before they expire. So make sure to check out all these videos in the I button, also in the description below. Make sure to hit that like, share this video, subscribe to our channel. This is Kedar from How To Guys signing out.